Well, yeah, and as always, when you're talking, I'm thinking you're causing me to think that society has phrased this all wrong because
Hmm.
we always talk about the leader should share their vision.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so you need to share your vision.
yeah.
And to me, it's implied that that's going to be you doing a whole bunch of talking.
Welcome again to It Doesn't Take a Genius, conversation with introspective perspectives and pithy points of view. Here are your hosts, my friends, Max and Marty.
I think that's Mark and Mike.
Yeah, whatever.
Ramsey!
Marshall, I always comment on something in your visual, and I didn't do this last time when you had the same background, but that's a lot of knotty pine. That is a late 70s, early 80s kitchen of some sort. I don't recognize it from a TV show or movie, but I'm guessing that you've got some story there.
Yeah, it is a disobedient tree wood. You're correct, quite correct. The avocado green appliance is
Yes.
definitely a giveaway. I don't know why I picked this one today. It's from Mad Men,
Oh, gotcha.
the wonderful show on AMC. Just felt just you had your little wooden bookcase going. I thought I needed a little,
Yeah.
wood rustic kind of thing going.
I,
So yeah, I went with the Mad Men.
I found not only my Rubik's Cube, but can you see it? My Duncan Midnight Special yo-yo from my childhood. Yeah.
Woo-hoo-hoo,
Yeah.
walk the dog.
I know. Well, I never could, but yeah, exactly.
I haven't mastered it, even though I've had it for 30 years.
Yeah, that's very true.
Damn.
Anyway, hey, I was thinking of a proverb as you were telling me about what you wanted to talk about for this episode. And I know that at one point it was, I believe, blasted over the walls of maybe something for the Saturn Corporation. But at any rate, where there is no vision, the people perish. It's from the book of Proverbs, an ancient Hebrew proverb. Where there is no vision, the people perish. But just vision is very, very important. And getting people to buy into and understand what the vision is that's kind of the trick, isn't it? So you had a story about vision, you say.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I have a manager, a top manager, incredibly young, highly driven, just an amazing young man,
Yep.
doing a good job leading his team. And he's been through our extensive coaching series of workshops.
Mm-hmm.
So we do these amazing workshops. This has been over a year's worth of workshops and applying the concept of coaching, asking great questions, getting people to discover answers for themselves, all those types of things that we talk about. And he'd had a life-changing, career-changing experience. He visited a department in another store that does what he does, and he just came back just in awe. And he came back and we're sitting down, and he said that as your proverb indicates, he had seen the vision.
Uh-huh.
And he had hope, and he said, "This is I know exactly what I want my department to look, feel, operate, and be like."
Mm.
So we got to talking about how do you get people currently in your department to step up, to do more, to improve processes and things like that. And he started to recap some conversations, and it was interesting because all of them started with the same three words. And he would say things like, if we want to make sure that our inventory is right, you got to label these parts. If you want to make sure that the customer is taken care of, you've got to call them.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to, and he was just, and I could tell by the way he was talking, this is the exact phrasing he is using with his people.
Right.
Yeah, if we're going to be great at this, you got to.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, so how's that working? He goes, apparently they don't got to do anything because they're not doing any of the stuff that I keep telling them you got to do. Yeah. And, I said, I asked, I said, are you at a point where you would consider a different approach? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. yeah, at this point, I'm open for ideas.
Hmm.
And that's when we begin thinking about what if I could get people to engage with the vision by asking them questions. If I could help them to see the vision by asking questions and allowing them to paint a picture for themselves and be drawn to something versus his current system of pushing people towards the vision. What if the vision was the draw? What if it pulled people in?
So you decided not to say, if you want people to live out this vision, you've got to stop saying that phrase. You didn't do that, huh?
I did not. We used that as a wrap up item. We could talk about, when we got to the commitment phase of coaching. And so we started brainstorming what are the good what questions starting with what, that would get people to move and see the direction that he'd like to go.
Yeah.
Questions would be, what would it look like if we were to improve this process? What would it look like if we were to keep our customers better informed? What would it look like if we were to achieve this success? Our department, stretch goals and things like that.
Yeah.
And what is your vision for our department?
Hmm.
And all these questions designed to get them to think through, what is our vision? What could I do that would contribute to the vision?
Yeah, you're making me think about something that we've often used. What would be the benefit for the customer? What would be the benefit for the company? What would be the benefit for you if we made these changes?
Mhm.
Just trying to see it from all the angles.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And so it was interesting because I thought, well, here's this. We've been teaching this amazing coaching tool, and he'd
Mhm.
done a nice job applying it to one-on-one individual performance, but hadn't made the natural, or what I would think was the natural leap to let's apply this same idea of coaching and having people trip over the truth and gain insight to achieving a departmental goal or departmental vision.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was fascinating that, okay, it works great here, but I never thought of trying it over here where it would work almost in an identical fashion.
And I would suspect that that's partly because he felt like it was time for the tell mode. The way you've put it on a continuum in your book is that we've got yell and tell on one side and ask and involve on the other side. And coaching is pushing toward asking and involving as much as you can. But we've always said, hey, there are times that you do have to tell. And so maybe in his mind, I saw this cool thing. I need to communicate it to you. Here's what I want you to start doing. Tell, tell, tell. But it sounds like in reality, like you said, tripping over the truth, there are some things that they could be doing to the employees could be thinking about that would awaken them to this new vision.
Well, yeah, and as always, when you're talking, I'm thinking you're causing me to think that society has phrased this all wrong, because we always talk about the leader should share their vision.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you need to share your vision.
Yeah.
And to me, it's implied that that's going to be you doing a whole bunch of talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're going to be forced to do a whole bunch of listening.
Yeah.
And this is not the case. So in this case, sharing your vision is asking questions so that people can see what you see.
So the blog that I keep at hipsocket.net, I just posted an article mentioning Frank Blake, who was the CEO of Home Depot. He was like a corporate lawyer. Even worked for the EPA, I believe it was, and so a government lawyer, a corporate lawyer, and suddenly he gets tapped to be CEO, and he read a book on vision on his way back. That was like his first leadership book, but he got flown back to headquarters, and like he read a book on the way that was like the first time he had read a leadership book, because he wasn't planning on being the leader, and it's a book on vision. And one of the things that he did that was part of his success is not just that he would go visit stores and he would write thank you notes that were very much appreciated. He was big on recognition. But when he got good recognition, he would share that corporately. So in other words, if he heard a good story of a team member who was doing it the way that would honor the vision, he would say, "Hey, you guys got to hear this story," and he would share that person's story with the masses. So, even then, the tell that he's doing is a little bit of more sort of like throwing the spotlight onto somebody else and saying, check out this. What do you notice here that would be helpful for us? So it makes perfect sense to the way you approached it with your client.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that makes so much sense. So in this case, we would share stories about people who are doing stuff that moved us closer to the vision.
Mm-hmm.
And with the in this particular business enterprise, I have had them do their vision drawings. What would your building look like, feel like, a year or 2 years from now?
Yep.
So that's something that they've done. And then the other thing we talked about was okay, you're as the manager, this person's very fired up because they've gone someplace and seen it. Right.
They actually experienced it.
Yeah, incumbent in the word vision is you should be able to see it. And this person has seen it. He could probably spend the next 3 years describing what he'd seen to his team members. When in reality, maybe the easiest way to do that would be have them to go shadow that department. Go see what they're doing, how they do it, what the atmosphere is like, what the communication's like, both internally and with customers. And now, a picture's worth 1,000, 10,000 words. The actual experience of seeing it live and go, okay, this is the level that we want to attain and operate at. And now we can ask more what questions. All right, what did you see? What was the single biggest thing that you believe they were doing that made them amazing? What, what all the way through that to kind of get them to put into words and to enunciate what they saw and what parts of it could be applied to what they're doing.
Yeah. What gets in the way of us doing that particular thing that we saw at that good location? Yeah.
So What's the biggest thing we do that's keeping us from operating at that level? Yeah. And so now you're off and running, and we concluded all this with an action step, and what could you do in order to ensure that you took a coaching approach versus a tell approach? And the manager came up with the idea and said, well, the first thing I have to do is completely eliminate "you got to" from my vocabulary. Yeah. And so, he self-banned the 3-word phrase "you got to."
Love it. Well, it's that's like the smallest of things with the biggest of impacts, right? That's just a tiny little change that we can all make. We can all tweak our vocabulary just a little bit, and it will really change the environment because people will be hearing him differently after that. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, and it was amazing to see how much energy he had because he was armed with a different approach. Yeah, he knew what he was doing wasn't working, but he kept doing it because he didn't see an alternative approach. And it was incredibly energizing to go, all right, there's something else I can do here. Yeah. And I'm excited about going down that path.
Well, I think in a wrap up, I'll also say that I find that very convicting as a father, because it's so often that you want to just, with 4 kids at home, you just want to impatiently say, just do it this way, just do it. And there is some of that, there needs to be, the ability to submit to authority. I think that's that's a good thing that everybody in society really could have. That's very countercultural right now because we're all supposed to be rebels. But I think, it doesn't help your parenting if the kids aren't able to hear you because there's so much tell. So, so this works at a parenting level as much as an employee level. And, I'm glad you brought it up. Thanks, Mike. Good stuff.
Well, thank you. And it's just all this coaching and now there's more applications for it. So it can be used in a wider scale to solve a number of problems. So it truly a rewarding day.
Great stuff. All right. Well, we're going to let Mr. John Wolf take us home. who's, he's told us a lot over the years, to be really fair, but he's usually right, so it's fine.
Yeah. I submit to his authority.
And that, I guess, is that. It doesn't take a genius. No rights reserved, nothing trademarked, copyrighted, or even original. Feel free to give it to anyone, anytime, using any and all media formats. Warning, Mark and Mike may or may not make another one. I'm your announcer, and I did not get paid a nickel to do this. They won't even let me tell you my name. So until next time, if there is a next time, stay safe, be well.
That's good enough.